Alright, so we are back inside of the good old base here. I've been doing a lot of excavating, doing it off camera. This is our battery bank room. I'm probably actually going to expand this down this way just a little bit further because I'd like to have basically 24 batteries, I guess, like two of these 12 banks, and that should give us quite a bit of power. I'll probably put like some glass on this, make it look kind of fancy. This is going to be like our engineering area. This is the XPAR, I believe it's called. XPAR reactor. I used this in my other series. I'm going to use it again. I believe I have everything I need to complete this reactor. And it's basically puts out, I think, a little bit more power than the basic vanilla reactor. I would like to get this reactor room up and running. It's basically going to be a little bit taller than this, but I'm just going to leave it as ice for now because I'm lazy. Started working on a little bit of a hallway here. Our production area is coming along. We got one of those completed. It's a power efficiency thing. Power is still a pretty giant issue. Our batteries are not doing well. Basically, we just in order to have these ships be battery powered like I want, it's going to require a lot of energy. So I am going to take a moment, figure out what I actually need here. We need a bunch of construction components, metal grid, steel tubes. I'm going to get all this stuff gathered up and get that reactor online. Alright, so the reactor is complete. It is not yet online because I need to go get uranium for it, which should be in our one functional refinery down here. We don't have a ton, but it should be enough to get the base up and running. We'll have to see what our power usage is. It's going to be a lot of batteries charging at once here. There's 6 on the base plus 3 of the small ones aboard what's it called? My grinder ship. So it's going to be kind of a lot of power drain, I imagine. What is that? Light reactor? Wow, it is outputting at its maximum to get those batteries charged, I guess. That's a little worrying, but let's see how things are going here. 1 hour, 1 hour. Well, it's going to get all of our batteries charged pretty quick if it doesn't run out of uranium first. I might want to go get some more. I actually have more uranium here, don't I? Might as well just toss it in there, get everything charged up, because we can always refine uranium. We're at the point now where we're safe from running out of power, because we have a source of uranium nearby. The solar panels give us some power. I have a mod that's supposed to do like intelligent balancing of charging and stuff. I don't have a computer set up. I think it needs a timing block and a computer and stuff to actually function. But I'm going to get that stuff going. There's some displays and stuff. It actually knows the difference between day and night, I guess, and all kinds of fancy stuff like that. I can't even get over there right now because I've started completing my walls and stuff. This is going to take so many interior plates and stuff to get it done. But one thing at a time. Yeah, we're kind of tearing through the uranium. That's a little worrying. But I'll let this thing do its thing. It's going to eventually get a conveyor coming up through the back. These things are efficiency boosters, but I do not have the power cells. Really, I think the power cells and the steel tubes are the main thing I don't have. Large steel tubes and small steel tubes are both in short supply right now. So I'm going to let this thing charge up my grinder ship, and then I'm going to go back and get a lot more components from the crash site. And this should increase my efficiency quite a bit. Actually, what I'm probably going to do is go mine as much as I can by hand some more uranium and bring it back here and refine it, because I'm going to be feeding that reactor for a while until we get everything charged up in here. This is the little like scaffolding I have until I get an actual staircase complete. But yeah, this should improve the situation here quite a bit in terms of power, and hopefully generally the base will be running off of solar power, and the reactor will only really be needed to when we get into energy intensive stuff like charging a ship or refining tons of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm going to go mine by hand. I hate it when this lighting glitch happens. I decided that I'm going to tear this front part of this base off and actually slope the roof up this way. And I'm going to build a little garage for my rover here. And I'm probably going to end up building a little scout rover too. with just a detector and stuff, so we can actually go and search for new ore sites and all that. But I'm gonna put away my grinder and my other gear and just get a drill and go make a couple trips for uranium, because I don't have anything else to do while everything's charging here anyway. I am going to keep working on my experimental mining platform. I'm actually pretty pleased with the result with the one piston that I did, but it's going to require more pistons to actually get down to that iron deposit. I don't know how far down the iron actually is. That's too far to walk right now, so I'm just going to leave the ship charging. I would like to actually figure out how far down that iron deposit is, because things start getting scary when you put a bunch of pistons together, but at the same time, the idea of taking a ship down inside of the ground really doesn't appeal to me on a gravity body like this. So it would be nice if we could just kind of invent a large platform that can be converted into a station when it needs to be, but we can also fly away with. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is something fairly big. They can fly in atmosphere very slowly, land, have a bunch of drills come down, and just bore a giant hole and steal all the ore. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on there. It's going to take a lot of resources to get that done. It's going to take some construction ships, all kinds of stuff. But that's the next objective here. I'll keep fiddling around with this base as we go, but it has the essential stuff aside from assemblers online. So I'm going to hollow out a production area probably over here where I can get some assemblers installed. I'll probably do like, I don't know, 6 of them maybe, so we can get that going and get a computer room set up too. I'm going to have just a server room. I know you can just kind of jam them wherever you want, but I'd rather have a server room. So I got that turret complete up there. It still doesn't have the ammo pipe to it, but get a couple turrets up would probably be good too. Maybe I'll turn on the cyber hounds at some point. I don't really like the idea of cyber hounds. They just kind of bother me. They're silly. They don't really make sense for Earth, in my opinion. It would be better if it was, I don't know. I don't know why it can't just be NPC pirates or something. I guess that would be complicated though, because they'd have to have guns and stuff. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go mindlessly mine some uranium and listen to some music, maybe a podcast, and I'll be back. Alright, well, the reactor has made life a lot better here. So our battery is more or less charged. How am I going to get into this now? There we go. Am I carrying stuff? I am carrying some stuff. I should probably leave that back here just because there's no sense in bringing any extra stuff. So I am going to make at least one trip back to our crash site. I will probably end up actually doing this as one trip with this ship, and then I will probably grind a bunch of stuff down and load it onto the rover and make another rover trip, because the rover can carry about 5 or 6 times as much stuff as this. I've been doing some upgrades on the rover, basically trying to streamline it a little bit more. If you remember a little while ago, I was on my way back with it empty, and I actually managed to somehow break a wheel doing a little jump. I got going a little too fast and jumped, so I ended up rebuilding the wheel a little bit further back, and I actually kind of like how that ended up being, and so I'm doing it to the other side and reconfiguring a bunch of stuff, but we'll see that when it's actually completed in a little bit. So I am going to hopefully go grind down some more components. I think I am going to build a small miner that's basically based on this chassis. Like I said, I'll probably have to extend the chassis a little bit farther back, because I need to probably put at least 4 of those large atmospheric thrusters on it. I really wish this lighting glitch would stop happening. I think it's just the flicker from the thruster, but it's super annoying. It's gonna give me a seizure. Anyway, like I was saying, the uranium situation, it's nice having that reactor. I don't know how big that uranium deposit is that's over near there, but I do know that bringing it back like 900 kilograms at a time is crappy, and you only yield like maybe like, what was it, 4.5 units of uranium, 5 units of uranium. I don't have my effectiveness or whichever one modules up and running on that yet, but because I don't have the steel tubes. That's another thing we have to actually find out here, is a bunch of steel tubes, but there's plenty of thrusters and stuff, so shouldn't be a problem, but we're kind of running out of high quality components on this ship. There's still a lot of thrusters, but in terms of stuff that I need right now, kind of starting to run out of components. So we're going to have to start making a lot more stuff. Definitely I want to get some more batteries online because I only have 6 completed batteries back there, and I want to get the whole set going so that the station has some reserve power. I want to get another reason actually to build the small miners so that I don't have to mine all that crap out by hand for those rooms anymore. Because one thing I discovered in my asteroid base was if I just made a mining ship with one little miner on the front, it changed my life completely. Like, it's just so much easier to do construction. It's going to be a little harder with these atmospheric thrusters, but we will see. So I'm going to go grind down some components I want here, and then I'll probably spend the night in-game doing that. And I don't want to pull down. Let's pull up a little bit. So I'll probably spend the game night doing that, and then when we come back, I think we're going to start working on that welding ship. Alright, so I'm back to post-commentary. That was all recorded live, but I'm trying to get quite a bit of footage edited through, because I want to get caught back up with kind of being on top of things. This footage is still a couple months old, and if I don't edit it down pretty harshly, it's going to be a while until we actually get into real time here. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting to get some of the infrastructure for the base hollowed out here. I'm doing this manually because I don't have a small, like on my asteroid base I had a nice little small mining ship that could come in here and kind of deal with all these little nooks and crannies mining it out, but it's not taking too long to just do it manually. What I'm trying to do is get the cargo bays and the assembler areas kind of defined here so that I know where everything's going to go in the future, and start getting some of the assemblers online, because really we have the some refining capability now here, and if we get some assembler capability, we'll have everything we need. We won't have to worry about if anything happens to that ship. It'll be inconvenient because I'm getting a lot of steel plate from it still, but it's pretty much only steel plate that's left there. And if we get this stuff laid out correctly, all piped together, everything will be pretty convenient. This is going to be the cargo area. Those are all going to be large cargo containers. And then over to the right where we're working, that's going to be here where we put a bank of assemblers. I'm going to put, I don't know how many in, maybe like a dozen, not real sure. There's some components that take forever to build, so it'd be handy to have a good capacity to deal with that. And it's still a lot of manual transferring stuff around right now because I have to dig underneath of everything. You got pipes going, so that's going to be a priority, but everything takes motors, and I'm going to be building a welding ship in this episode too. I kind of skipped through that whole process, but the general thinking is that, you know, obviously it's going to be a lot easier to weld stuff up if I don't have to carry everything manually. Need to get a staircase so I don't have to keep taking this weird route in and out of the base there. And what I'm doing here is getting more battery components worked out. I'm just working out what I need exactly, and get those what are they called, battery cells going here. So we'll have a decent amount of power. Power's the first priority because everything else depends on it in terms of refining and everything. So I'm feeling pretty good about how things are going here. So this part doesn't have any of the in-game audio because when I'm building, I usually just put on some music. I was jamming out to some Evanescence when I was recording this, and whatever you think of them, I just didn't want to deal with the copyright issues that would come with that. Now, these need ridiculous numbers of motors, so I'm going to have to go back and see what I can salvage in terms of, we're going to do a little bit of mining. We're going to have, oh, the frame rate got terrible there. We're going to have to do some mining. We're going to have to deal with some other stuff, but the ship is kind of like vaguely together now. I'm using, in case you can't tell, a projector to project the blueprint of that other ship. And instead of putting on the grinder, I'm just going to put on a welder. It's going to be identical to that ship in every way, except it's going to have a welder on it. I could make one with little detachable tools and stuff, but Didn't feel like getting that fancy, and it's simpler and kind of better to have the redundancy too, because if something happens to one of the ships, I still have another one. Because right now, they're a primary mode of transportation, so it's kind of useful to have a bunch. So I'm over here just manually mining. I need a mining ship of some sort still. I showed you in the previous episode I'm working on prototyping some sort of automated mining station thing to get huge quantities of ore. I'm not going to focus too much on mining on the planet. I just want to get up to decent qualities of mining, because once we get into space, I'll just do cargo ships to bring stuff down to the surface as it's needed, because mining is a lot easier with asteroids, and there are asteroids up there, so deal with that. Stupid iron getting under rocks. This manual mining is driving me crazy. There's so much work. It's another reason I'm editing this a lot, because I'm just doing stuff like this a lot. It's a lot of manual running back and forth, a lot of leg work involved and everything still. But it's I feel like this game gets to the point where you start getting enough infrastructure in place that it kind of like builds on itself. And we're getting to that point where everything's going to be a lot easier. Now, the welding ship has, I got enough components together here, so we're up in the air in our welding ship. And I have so many interior plates and stuff that I just need to start putting some floors in and getting some rooms in, because it's taking up a lot of my storage having all this stuff in, so I'd rather have it actually be functional. And even with the welding ship, this takes a long time to do, but it's so much easier. Like the interior blocks especially are annoying to place manually because they take so many components, like the interior whatever they are things. Just they take up a lot of volume, so you can't carry very many of them at a time, and it's very time consuming trying to manually do this. So the welding ship's slow, but it's faster, and I'm gonna end up flipping this thing at some point, like one of these ships, because I'm still operating, like watching me fly this here, I'm still operating a lot like it's on the surface. And of course we can place blocks from the ship, but I do not have the stuff to do it with. But that's a handy thing to be able to do. So I guess that's about all I'm doing with the welding ship for now. I'm just gonna go park it. I only have the one docking port, so I have to switch the ships back and forth. It's all very inconvenient, but as you see, I'm building up a little bit of a platform. I'm thinking about building a hangar right where this is. That's why there's that ramp there. I think it's gonna be a place to park the rover in the future. Kind of makes sense to me. And get out here, go back. What are we doing now? Oh yeah, we're working on getting all the complicated piping stuff altered a little bit here. Now, these arc furnaces are all going to be hooked up the same way, but I need to have a pathway. I'm trying to work out the best pathway for these to actually make it over there. It actually, yeah, at this point, did I change my mind? Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I realized it would be more efficient. Why am I doing all that for? I can just hollow out the area under here, and I can place the assembler. I didn't realize I did this so early on here, but I can just place the assemblers underneath. Seems a lot simpler, and they don't want to line up exactly the way I want them to line up, so there's still going to be some piping involved, but it's a lot less than I thought I was going to have to do. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, because these are only 2 by whatever, and I don't know, it doesn't matter, but for some reason I want the text going a certain way and all that. Yeah, like that. And then they're kind of recessed far, and I didn't want that, so just do this, and then I'll just run a little 90-degree elbow up to each one of those, and it'll be all done. And it saves me a lot of trouble. For whatever reason, I painted them green, too. Why not? It's good to have a color scheme going. And what we'll end up doing, part of the reason I did this is because it's taking so long. It's going to be a long time before I have enough resources to get all these pipes going that I want to get, and this will just be a lot quicker, so I don't have to keep moving stuff back and forth manually. But anyway, this is pretty much where we are for today. Next time we're going to keep working on getting the infrastructure of the base up and running and see where that goes from there, because I feel like a lot of progress is getting made. We're getting to self-sufficiency again. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of Space Engineers.